If you have a Bible, or you want to use one of the Bibles beside you, we're going to be looking at Exodus chapter 33. That's on page 70. We're going to be reading verses 12 through 23 together, and then we'll break it down a little bit. Exodus 33, verses 12 through 23. Moses said to the Lord, "See, you have said to me, 'Bring up this people,' but you have not let me know whom you will send with me. Yet you have said, 'I know you by name,' and you have also found favor in my sight. Now if I have found favor in your sight, show me your ways, so that I may know you and find favor in your sight. Consider too this nation of your people." He said, this is the voice of the Lord, "My presence will go with you, and I will give you rest." And then Moses said to him, "If your presence will not go, do not carry us up from here. For how shall it be known that I have found favor in your sight, I and your people, unless you go with us? In this way we shall be distinct, I and your people, from every people on the face of the earth." The Lord said to Moses, "I will do the very thing that you have asked, for you have found favor in my sight, and I know you by name." Moses said, "Show me your glory, and I will pray." And he said, "I will make all my goodness pass before you, and I will proclaim before you the name the Lord, and I will be gracious to whom I will be gracious, and I will show mercy on whom I will show mercy. But," he said, "you cannot see my face, for no one shall see me and live." And the Lord continued, "See, there is a place by me where you shall stand on the rock. And while my glory passes by, I will put you in a cleft of the rock, and I will cover you with my hand until I have passed by. Then I will take away my hand, and you shall see my back, but my face shall not be seen." This is the word of the Lord. Last week, we stood with Jacob at Bethel, a certain place of unexpected grace. He was alone and running, and God showed up in a dream promising, "I am with you." It was a personal comfort, a divine surprise for a single wandering soul. But what happens when doubt is bigger than one person and it belongs to us all? That's what we're going to explore today in this story from Exodus 33 this morning. But I have to be honest, like most Old Testament stories, I find this almost absurd upon first reading. So we have Moses negotiating with the creator of the universe like he's haggling over a used car. And God plays along, offering to show him his goodness, but only with some cosmic fine print. And then the grand finale is like a divine safety drill. Stand on this rock, I'll cover your eyes, and when I walk by, you can get a sneak peek of my backside. Like, that's essentially what this story is. In other words, Moses wins the argument, and it's like his prize is history's most holy and strangest game of peekaboo. And I don't know exactly what to do with this text when I first read it. And then I see what's under the surface. And as underneath the absurdity, underneath all the questions this text might raise about, does God have a hand? Does God have a backside? Is it a butt? I don't know. Is uncertainty. Beneath the surface, there is a tremendous amount of uncertainty. Down below, down the mountain, the Israelites panicked. They had no clear leader, And as far as they know, they had no visible representation of God, and so they reached for the wrong tangible thing, a symbol of their own making, a golden calf. They wanted something to do, they wanted something they could control, and that did not work out for them. When we find ourselves lost in these seasons of doubt or uncertainty, even when they are not born of failure, but from misfortune and tragedy, the temptation to succumb to our fears is just as real during those seasons as it was for the Israelites, because we cannot escape the aching experience of absence. The golden calf is dumb. It's absurd. It's silly. It makes zero sense. But it was a very real answer to a very real human need. The people wanted assurance and presence in a time of uncertainty. At the same time, we must be leery of letting fear of the unknown make us immune to curiosity. The golden calf was their desperate attempt to shrink mystery, to rope and wrangle, get it? The unknown down to something manageable. But up on the mountain, Moses learns something better, and I think today we can too. Our certainty does not come from circumstances we can see or control. It comes from a relationship. The faithful presence of a God who sometimes leaves us with questions but never leaves us alone. For the Israelites, their uncertainty stemmed from a catastrophic failure. The covenant was broken. Now Moses, he's disappeared up the mountain, holding the shattered tablets of a shattered relationship, and God speaks a terrifying sentence in chapter 33. He says, I will give you the land, and I will give you success, but I will not go with you. You can have the promised land, the building, the programs, the budget, everything you think you need, but you will not have it with me. You'll have it without my presence. And for Moses, this is an utterly unacceptable future for his people. While the people flounder below in a fog of their failure, of broken trust, of wondering if they've gone too far, of asking, will we even survive this? Is God still with us? What are we going to do? While they're doing that, Moses is up on the mountain learning how to negotiate for the one thing that matters most. And in this process, he redefines for us the very nature of certainty itself. So let's break it down. Moses' first request. Moses is a bold human being, by the way. Moses said to the Lord, see, you have said to me, bring up this people. You told me to do this. But you have not let me know who you will send with me. Yet you have said, I know you by name, and you have also found favor in my sight. Now, if I have found favor in your sight, then please show me your way so that I can know you and find favor in your sight. Consider too that this nation is your people. Notice in Moses' first request, he does not ask for a map or a blueprint or a 5-year plan. He appeals to intimacy. You have said, I know you by name. Well, then prove it. He's clinging to a personal promise. The word know in this verse, yada, is an Adam knew Eve kind of knowing. It's a naked, vulnerable, giving and receiving kind of knowledge. Show me your ways so that I can know you. In the fog of uncertainty, we do not need a blueprint. We need to understand the character of our guide. His patterns, his heart, his nature. This is a prayer for wisdom, not for a blueprint. And the Lord agrees. But Moses pushes further. Verse 15, and Moses said to him, if your presence will not go, do not bring us up from here. For how shall it be known that I have found favor in your sight, I and your people, unless you go with us? In this way we shall be distinct, I and your people, from every people on the trace of the earth. Moses refuses to move under any other terms. His argument is about identity. If your presence does not go with us, what else will distinguish us? Their identity, I was thinking about Benny this week. Their identity was not in their destination, wherever they ended up, but in the one who journeyed with them along the way. We must keep this wisdom before us when doubt and uncertainty seem bigger than our persons can handle and what we think we can hold together. There are two types of dangerous, courageous prayers that we should all be praying right now. First, we should not be praying blueprint prayers. God, show me exactly what to do. Give me a clear sign from heaven. We all know that's rarely how this works. But we should be praying relationship prayers. God, show me your ways. Help me know your character. Teach me what it means to trust you when the path is not clear. Give me wisdom, not just answers. This kind of prayer shifts the focus from begging or manipulating God for the correct information to pursuing God for transformation, whatever the end result might be. The second prayer is simple, but twice as dangerous and even more courageous. God, if achieving this without your presence is the cost, I would rather not have it. God, if achieving this without your presence is the cost, I would rather not have it. Moses teaches us the courage to say, if your presence is not going, then I am not going. And here's the big revelation of this story in verse 17 and 18. The Lord said to Moses, I will also do this thing that you have asked, for you have found favor in my sight, and I know you by name. And he said, I will make all my goodness pass before you, and I will proclaim before you the name of the Lord, and I will be gracious to whom I will be gracious, and I will show mercy on whom I will show mercy. God agrees based on relationship. I know your name, you'll know my name. The primary need is met. My presence will go. This is God's willingness, once again, to remain with a flawed people. This is what grace looks like. We just started a series on the Bible in youth group, and basically we just talked about how people just keep making the same mistakes. And I was like, yeah, I call that the cul-de-sac effect. We just keep driving in circles. The same is true for here. But God promises to remain with us. That's the climax of the story. But Moses has an audacious third request. Moses says, please show me your glory. Please show me your glory. This is the cry of every human heart for a direct, unmediated experience of God, of ultimate reality. The soul desires the end of all seeking. To dissolve the sense of separation, to know God, not just know about God. It's a move beyond fear into a daring desire for transformation. And for Moses, this is no longer a request for things or even for guidance, but for the essence of God's very self. And God said, I will make all my goodness pass before you, and I will proclaim before you my name, the Lord. And I will be gracious to whom I will be gracious, and I will show mercy to whom I will show mercy. But you cannot see my face, for no one shall see me and live. And the Lord continued, see, there is a place by me where you shall stand on the rock, and while my glory passes by, I will put you in the cleft of a rock, and I will cover you with a hand until I have passed. Then I will take away my hand, and you shall see my back, but my face shall not be seen. Again, it's a little weird. But it's also revolutionary. Because in the ancient Near East, in a world where gods were seen as powerful images, the Lord defines his glory not as a blinding spectacle, but as a verbal proclamation of who he is. I will cause my goodness to pass before you, and I will proclaim my name. And then in chapter 34, if you read on, that's exactly what the renewed covenant is established upon. But there's a question here, though. God says, you cannot see my face and live. And I wrote in my notes this week, why? It's not because God is wrathful. It's simply because the finite cannot contain the infinite. Full, unmediated disclosure of ultimate reality would render us completely undone. We are not capable of comprehending the whole essence of God, and I think that we should always keep that in mind. I know exactly what God would do in this situation. Eastern Orthodox Bishop Callistos Ware, he puts it this way: God is not so much the object of our knowledge as the cause of our wonder. And Richard Rohr reminds us, God is always bigger than the boxes we build for God. So we should not waste too much time protecting our boxes. God tells Moses, you cannot see my face and live. Yet God provides a solution, a place of safety, divine protection, and then a retrospective glimpse. You will see my back. Church, like Moses, we are not given a face-to-face explanation of our future. We are given a retrospective glimpse of God's faithfulness. We see where he has been. We see the wake of his goodness, his back. We see it in creation. We see it in Scripture, and we see it in the stories we are still telling. Tom and I were discussing this week, and he brought up this brilliant metaphor of a rowboat. When you're on a rowboat, you move forward, but you're facing backwards the entire time. Your oars push against the water that you have already crossed. And that effort is what moves you ahead. You cannot see what's in front of you, but you trust the direction because of the work and the waters you have already navigated. In the same way, our faith leads us into the future, not with a clear view of what lies ahead, but the confidence based on what God has already done. We move forward into the unknown while looking back at God's faithfulness. But that is not the same thing as going backwards. Same God, same promises, same presence. New grace every day, new future unfolding with every breath. And if that sounds scary, Chestnut Grove, I think that it is my duty to remind you that unlike Moses, God has given us something even better than a retrospective glimpse of God's backside. Jacob had a dream. Moses received a promise, but we've been given a person. Our place of safety is not a rock or a plan, it is Jesus Christ. In him, God's glory is shown and known, not through overwhelming power, but through a love that reached all the way to the cross, to the grave, and back out again. In him, we hear God's answer to every wandering heart, my presence will go with you, and I will give you rest. That is an invitation not to certainty, but to faith. God does not promise us clarity for every step ahead. He promises to be with us every step we take. Our security is not in a plan, it is in a person, and that person knows you and knows us all by name. So in the coming days, in the coming weeks, in the coming years, as you journey through life and we journey together, when the answers are not clear and we face decisions both big and small, may we resist the golden calf impulse to shrink mystery into something manageable. And might we instead ask, what might God be teaching me and teaching us through the not knowing? When you feel the anxiety of the unknown rising, I don't know if you've experienced any of that lately. I've been waking up at 4:30 every day. When you feel that anxiety rising, ask a curious question instead of demanding an answer. Fear says in that moment, I need to know exactly how this will turn out so that I will control it. But holy curiosity says, I wonder how God's goodness will show up in this. I wonder what I will learn about his character through this. I wonder how this will transform me. We must learn to also have the boldness to ask, is this drawing me deeper into God's presence or just towards comfort and control? And may we all learn to have the courage to say, if you're not in this, God, I don't want it. Worship team, if you want to head back up. If you're not in this, God, I don't want it. Nothing kills faith quicker than a sense of certainty. But wisdom begins when we realize that God is right here, has always been here, and will never leave or forsake us. God is not far away. God is alive within, living and breathing along with us in every moment. The certainty he offers is not in the circumstances of our journey, but in the companionship along the way.